Chapter 4: How Christmas Transformed Early Communities. As Jesus grew up in Nazareth, his story began to travel by word of mouth. The testimonies of shepherds, travelers, and the families living near Bethlehem mingled with the ancient promises of the prophets. It would still be years before the child's message reached its fullness, but the memory of his birth had already touched the hearts of many. Over time, this event became a unifying point for the first communities. Seeking hope amidst a world marked by political tensions, injustices, and daily hardships, the followers of Jesus, after his life and teachings, began to gather in small groups around the 1st century AD. They had no temples or official celebrations, but a deep certainty. The one born in a stable represented the love that all were called to live. The memory of his birth was not seen as a simple historical fact, but as a truth that gave meaning to existence. Christmas, although not yet called by that name, was celebrated as a reminder of the value of each person, especially the most vulnerable. Over the decades, these groups grew. In cities like Jerusalem, Antioch, Rome, and Alexandria, communities gathered to share food, help the sick and widows, and teach each other to live with humility and fraternity. For them, remembering the birth of Jesus meant returning to the origin of their faith, to the moment when light entered the world. The meetings were filled with songs, readings, and reflections. They taught that true greatness was not in power, but in serving others with a sincere heart. The celebration of the birth began to take a clearer form around the 3rd century, when some faith leaders sought a specific day to unite everyone in a single remembrance. Although Roman festivals still dominated the calendar at that time, Christians began to distinguish their own identity with new customs. They lit lamps in winter to represent the light that had come into the world. They shared bread and wine to remember fraternity. They embraced as a sign of reconciliation. Slowly, these practices spread and strengthened. It was in the 4th century that the date of December 25th was officially established in several regions. In Rome, there was already a celebration related to light, so adopting that day allowed believers to unite without completely breaking with the people's customs. However, the deepest meaning was not in the date, but in the message. For Christians of that time, Christmas became a reminder that God had chosen simplicity, and that followers should learn to live with gratitude, humility, and generosity. As the centuries progressed, Christmas began to transform entire cities. In towns, days of help for the needy were organized. In homes, tables were prepared with food to be shared with those who had none. Children learned that generosity was a treasure to be cherished. The elderly told how the light of Bethlehem had changed lives, inviting everyone to forgive and heal wounds. Thus, Christmas became a bridge between faith and daily life. The spirit of the celebration also renewed the way people related to each other. It made many understand that they were not alone, that there was a community capable of supporting them. Christmas inspired people to live with more compassion. It reminded them that every human being has value, and that even in the most difficult moments, comfort can be found in faith and family unity. In this way, Christmas, born from a humble event in Bethlehem, began to transform hearts, communities, and cultures. Its profound meaning was not limited to a day, but became a way of living. Christmas taught that light can always be reborn, that goodness can change history, and that love has the power to unite even those who seem to be separated.